All right, Jim, let's get another question before we get to the Raw review. This one was sent to CornyDriveThru at gmail.com from Neil Jackson in Hopewell, Virginia. This past year on both AEW and WWE, we keep hearing the term rubber match when it comes to a tiebreaker match. AEW specifically uses it a lot to justify a big main event or pay-per-view match. I'm curious where the terminology of rubber match comes from. It seems like an old boxing term, but maybe Jim can clarify further.
Well, that's a good question. And is this one of those terms that's fallen out of use anywhere but in wrestling today? But it used to be everybody knows what it is, but I don't know if anybody sat down and thought where it comes from.
Right, in the era of the big main event boxing matches isn't really there right now with the rubber match, at least in the public's eye as much as it used to be.
I guess if just breaking it down kind of logically, if you're 1-1, this one could go either way. It's stretchable. I don't know. But since I was a kid, I've always heard that, as you said, not only applied to wrestling, but to boxing. And then, back in my day, if anybody was doing 2 out of 3 of anything, you would kind of say, oh, here's the rubber match. But I don't know the specific origin.
And I didn't know this either, and I just looked it up, and it's on a website here. Rubber game is a baseball meaning from when baseball teams split the first 2 games, because most series are 3 games. There are 4-game series and sometimes 5-game series, but mostly 3-game series, at least in a regular season. In a 3-game series between 2 teams, it is evident that one team gains the upper hand by winning 2 sets, or 2 games. I don't know who wrote this. If a team wins the first 2 games, they are automatically deemed the winner by default. However, if both teams win only 1 game, they will proceed to have the highly stressful 3rd game, which becomes the decisive win factor. The 3rd game, known as the rubber game, is derived from the concept that the winning team gets to keep the rubber ball, i.e. the game progression. In this rubber game, the MLB teams must win at any cost by competing 9 innings. Well, now I got into a weird thing there.
Is that in Abner Doubleday's own handwriting also, by the way?
I don't know what website, who wrote this here, but that's the only description I've seen of where it comes from. And then here's another thing that says it's a boxing term. Oh, here we go. Rubber is known for being elastic. This is the history of rubber. It also became a popular slang to describe flexibility. In the 18th century, rubber matches were not just used in lawn bowling, but also in card games, boxing, and tennis. For tennis, it is used to describe an individual match within a Davis Cup or Fed Cup tie.
Fred's Cup?
The Fred Cup.
Fred Cup.
Well, there's nothing conclusive here. It's just random websites. There's no Merriam-Webster explanation.
Well, isn't it the etymology or entomology, or maybe Intamin's Bakery of words is what you look up to determine where they come from, branch from, trickle down from, whatever. We'll have to research that further, but
we certainly.
Well, you got one person saying one thing there, and one person saying, "I wish we could get a rubber match on this, so we would have some conclusion."